This is Valley News Live at 5.
The trial continues today for former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, charged in the death of George Floyd. Witnesses who took the stand set the stage of what happened in the moments before officers were called to the scene after a report of a counterfeit bill being passed at a store. Camila Bernal has the latest from Minneapolis.
In day 3 of testimony,
I'm claustrophobic, man. Working with me. God, I'm claustrophobic, man.
New body cam footage of George Floyd's arrest. And a man who witnessed it breaks down on the stand. Earlier, never-before-seen surveillance video of George Floyd inside Cup Foods. The footage shows store cashier Christopher Martin accepting a $20 bill while selling Floyd a pack of cigarettes.
When I saw the bill, I noticed that it had a blue pigment to it, so I assumed that it was fake.
Twice, Martin says he went to the SUV that Floyd was sitting in, trying to get Floyd back inside the store to discuss the possibly counterfeit bill, but says Floyd would not come back in. That led to a call to police. A short time later, Martin testified there was a commotion outside the store. He went back outside and saw Floyd motionless with Chauvin's knee on his neck.
What was going through your mind during that time period?
Disbelief and guilt.
Okay. Why guilt?
If I would have just not taken the bill, this could have been avoided.
In cross-examination, the defense focusing on Floyd's behavior inside the store.
He was delayed in his speech, and you believed him to be under the influence of something.
Correct.
In Minneapolis, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Officials say the most serious charge, second-degree murder, carries a maximum sentence of 40 years in prison. A man accused of shooting at a vehicle last summer has now pleaded guilty. 21-year-old Lavelle Ivy was originally charged with 3 counts of attempted murder and 3 counts of second-degree assault. However, court records show he's only pleading guilty to the assault charges. On the evening of June 21st, Clay County deputies responded to a report of someone shooting at a car at the Casey's in Dilworth. Authorities say Ivy was kicked out of a car after a fight over gas money and began to shoot at it. He's due back in court next month. A case against the man accused of killing and dismembering a teenager is once again being delayed. Today's hearing was originally supposed to be a sentencing for 27-year-old Ethan Broad, who is charged with second-degree intentional murder. He pleaded guilty in January to stabbing and dismembering 19-year-old Destiny Avery last April, but withdrew his plea in February. Now the court is ordering a second competency evaluation before the trial can proceed. There's no word on when he's due back in court. Without the wind, it almost seems like conditions are improving. Let's get a check of this evening with Hutch. Hey, Hutch.
Hi, Andrea. Good evening, everyone. Certainly our weather tonight not as challenging on the hair follicles as we see a lot of sunshine across the region. Unfortunately, that is not equating to a lot of warmth. It is still in the 20s in Baudette, Thief River Falls, Detroit Lakes, and Bemidji. And at best, we're in the mid-30s for Jamestown to Fargo, the warm spots. Fargo's planner as we look in on the Devil's Lake Basin, clear skies and temperatures quickly slipping into the 20s as our wind dies down and shifts direction overnight, you notice, by 1 in the morning. It's southerly. Grand Forks even colder as temperatures sneak down into the teens by late night tonight. Now, I'll have details on how low we go. It looks like another frosty start to our day, but a beautiful warming trend to talk about. We'll do that in a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch. Police in Fargo want you to know about 3 high-risk sex offenders now living in the community. The first is Aaron Bever, who is currently homeless. Police describe him as 6'3", 175 pounds with hazel eyes and brown hair. He was convicted of sexually assaulting a 6-year-old girl about 450 times. Jeffrey Miller is now living at 734 College Street North in Fargo. He must register for a lifetime after convictions of gross sexual imposition and corruption of a minor. Police say he did sexual acts with minors between the ages of 6 and 17 multiple times. And Michael Skeldum is now living at 202 7th Avenue North in Fargo. He was convicted of gross sexual imposition. His victims were 2 girls, ages 10 and 13. Two people are now in jail after they allegedly broke into multiple campers last night at Smoky's Landing Campground near Jamestown. Sheriff Chad Kaiser says they took reports of 7 campers with window damage. Deputies found 2 people in their 20s inside a camper. Kaiser says the 2 were reported missing from Oklahoma, got locked out of their vehicle, and were breaking into campers to escape cold temperatures. A Grand Forks police officer who was killed in the line of duty last spring has now been awarded 2 high honors within the Grand Forks Police Department. At the department's 2020 award banquet last night, 29-year-old Cody Holte was awarded a Purple Heart, Medal of Honor, and the Wayne Andy Anderson Meritorious Service Award for his bravery and selfless actions taken last May. The nation's top health officials are urging governors and all Americans to do their part in the fight against COVID-19. The White House held a COVID briefing today. The director of the CDC shared the latest case numbers and encouraged Americans to keep wearing a mask and social distancing as we continue to get more people vaccinated every day. The White House COVID advisor is echoing that request, calling on governors to reinstate mask mandates.
This is a critical moment in our fight against the pandemic. As we see increases in cases, we can't afford to let our guard down. We are so close, so very close to getting back to the everyday activities we all miss so much. But no, we're not quite there yet.
White House officials also say that testing locations continue to expand and that the UK variant is in 26% of cases right now, making it the predominant strain in at least 5 regions. Adolescents may be one step closer to getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Pfizer says data from a late-stage trial shows its vaccine is highly effective in that age group. The phase 3 trial involved over 2,200 children, 12 to 15 years old. The companies say 18 cases of COVID-19 were reported among those who got the placebo, but none were reported in the vaccinated group. That means the efficacy rate for the 2-dose vaccine was 100%. They say it was also well tolerated and produced a strong immune response. The companies say they plan to submit this data to the FDA as soon as possible and request emergency use authorization so their vaccine can be expanded to include this age group. We are starting to see an increase in COVID numbers in the region, and some are wondering if it's tied to spring breakers or something else. After backtracking the COVID-19 numbers the last few months in Cass County, many days have peaked close to or over the 100 mark, highlighting those between the ages of 10 and 29. As cases rise, the upcoming prom season is becoming a concern. Sanford Health says not only is this age group the first one to contract COVID-19, they are a wide spreader, adding the vaccine for this age group is essential.
Kind of the challenge with colleges and universities right now is we're getting near the end of the school year. So if we've got a 2-dose vaccine for most of them, that's most of what we have available. We want to make sure we can get the 2nd dose in before they scatter.
Students over the age of 16 can get vaccinated at Sanford Health with availability open all the way up to mid-April. The hospital is supplying 3,000 doses this week. Hospitalizations and deaths are continuing to decrease in Cass County. Clay County residents over the age of 16 are eligible to receive the vaccine at Sanford. To stay on top of the latest COVID vaccine-related information, use our VNL vaccine tracker. It's right on the home page of our website, or you can open your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen. Then tap the link that pops up. Today, we can show you what life is like for some of the 19,000 migrant children in U.S. custody. For the first time, journalists were allowed inside a crowded Border Patrol center that was set up to handle the overflow of children. Officials said yesterday about 5,200 unaccompanied children were being held in those short-term facilities. Mira Villarreal toured the facility in Donna, Texas, and has more.
Every room is full. Every agent is busy, and this facility stretched to the max.
The capacity for this location for COVID purposes is 250. We're holding over 4,100 subjects in this location alone.
3,400 of those so-called subjects are unaccompanied children. Everyone starts in the intake room with medical screenings. Children 14 and over will have fingerprints and photos taken. Next, they'll get immigration documents and a court date. But for most, that's when the process stalls.
While Border Patrol is already done with the entire processing of these individuals, we're not able to turn them over to HHS's custody. HHS does not have the adequate beds to be able to take on all of these kids.
So they wait in these overcrowded pods. The walls are made of plastic, and the floor is covered in a sea of foil blankets.
This is the playpen.
27 of the youngest unaccompanied migrants sleep, eat, and play in a separate room, corralled by a plastic baby gate.
That's their permanent home for these kids until we're able to put them and turn them over to HHS custody.
How does that sit with you?
I'm a father. I don't want to see that. As a Border Patrol agent, I didn't sign up for this. This is not the right place for these kids.
And yet the flow continues to grow along the banks of the Rio Grande.
One's a 12-year-old, one's a 17-year-old. They're from Honduras. They say they're trying to get to where their mom's at in Louisiana, New Orleans.
Many of these children will get sent to the Donna facility where they could wait days, even weeks, to get placed in a real shelter.
39 kids that have been here for over 15 days. It's just, for whatever reason, they have fallen through the system or through the cracks.
The DHS secretary says they're working around the clock to quickly move unaccompanied children out of these processing facilities. At the same time, Health and Human Services says they are also working very quickly to open up new shelters for families and children. Here's a reminder for people who travel along South University Drive in Fargo. The city is moving a house tomorrow. Crews will start the move at 8:30 in the morning, and it will impact traffic for about 2 hours. It's moving from the area around the Fargo Country Club to its new location south of Fargo. Traffic will be impacted, first at 21st Avenue South and then continuing south down University Drive. Police will be posted along the route, directing traffic. If you plan on taking I-29 near Hillsborough, your drive will look a bit different for a while. Starting today, the interstate is undergoing construction from the Grandin interchange to north of the Blanchard exit. Both sides of the road are down to 1 lane with the speed limit reduced to 65 miles per hour. Still to come on Valley News Live at 5. Pebbles is celebrating its 50th birthday, and that means fans will get to taste some birthday cake.
Yesterday at this time, we were almost 50 degrees colder than Monday's temperatures, which soared to the upper 70s. Today, well, the west is warming up, and that's heading our way. It was a chilly start to the day, more chill in the air tonight. I'll have details in your hour-by-hour forecast coming up right after this.